Joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Hendrick Motorsport Chevrolet. If you have a question for Chase, please raise your hand and we will get a mic over to you. We'll go ahead and start down here with Matt.
I'm curious, what does a Georgia boy do in Mexico City for fun?
Well, we came down, a couple months ago and did like the media preview thing for it. So I had a little bit of an idea what to expect. But yeah, I got in last night, ate dinner and went to bed and got up, and came to the track this morning. So I haven't done anything so far. At least, but I think tomorrow probably tomorrow afternoon we'll have some time. Maybe, I don't know, find a good restaurant or, something along those lines. But the schedule here is kind of spread out. We're at the track, pretty early in the mornings and don't get back till later in the evening. So really it's kind of all about the race for me, at least this trip. Not a lot of time to go and mess around at the moment.
And then I passed you and Carl in the garage this morning, and I found it kind of humorous that you guys kind of admitted y'all have never really talked, hadn't seen each other. He's been gone for a while, and now you guys are talking 2 weeks in a row. One, what is it like to get to know Carl a little bit, and how important is it to have him as a storyteller in the sport, be in the garage talking to you guys and picking y'all's brain?
Yeah, I mean, I've met Carl before. I raced with him, my rookie year. In 16, I guess that was his last, I think that was his last year. So, yeah, I know we raced together at least one season. And I remember having, some conversation with him, throughout the course of that season. But certainly since he's been gone, I've not had any communication with him or, contact at all. So, he's always been a guy that I've appreciated and admired. I think he, just kind of how he's handled his business, I think is admirable over the years. And, he is a great storyteller. He's always been very professional and just, he does good in front of the cameras, but he's also a good guy away from that too. I'm not saying he's not, but he is, I think, a good choice for Amazon. I have not gone back and watched the races thus far, but I will say this: everyone that has come up to me, friends or fans or whatever, that have watched the races over the last few weeks have had nothing but incredible things to say, and it seems like it's been really well done. At least that's kind of been the perception that's out there that I've heard. So I think Carl has a big role in that. I think he does a really good job. I've enjoyed talking to him more the last couple of weeks and look forward to spending some more time with him, at some point down the road. I think he has a lot of great insight. He raced for a long time. He stepped away, but he's his re-involvement now, I think he's learning kind of how things have changed, what's changed, what hasn't, and it's always, I enjoy talking to people like that just have a different perspective, because you can always learn something, from them, and he's definitely been a fun guy to talk to, and like I said, hopefully, can spend some more time with him down the road.
We'll come right here in the middle to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Chase, after going through the track walk, is there anything that kind of stood out to you, what you saw, and also, I guess, how will you view the track limits or how NASCAR may rule on that?
Yeah, I really don't know. In the sim, which is all I kind of have to go off of, at least to this point, you didn't have tire barriers, and I didn't, at that point in time, I didn't really know what they were going to police and what they weren't. So, I ran laps where I was really aggressive, running off the road and kind of taking advantage of different areas that I felt like might be worth a little bit of time. But I will say the majority of the laps that I ran, by choice, was just really staying inside the lines, because I had a feeling that might be a little more reality. But there are some areas that I think you'll take advantage of. Off the racetrack, I think the tire barriers have especially through 8 and 9, or whatever numbers. I don't know which track map you're looking at, right? The numbers change, but the last two S's before you get to the stadium section, for clarity, the tire packs and where they're located through that section, I think will significantly change how at least I was approaching, that section in the sim. But I do think, look, we have some practice and some time on track, and I think everyone's going to be super aggressive with taking every inch that you can take and probably stepping over that line. And if you get called, you get called. You learn what you can and can't do. That's what we're running for. So my intention is to go and push the limits as far as I can push them. I'm probably going to step over them, at different points in time, and I want to know for sure what's going to be called and what wasn't. Coda was a really interesting situation because there was a section of the track that I thought was off limits, and halfway through the race, everybody started running on it, and I thought, well, hell, I guess I'll do it too. So I just don't want that. I don't want to run into that. I was totally fine with that. That was great. I think it just. There was obviously a little bit of miscommunication on what was and what wasn't. So I want to make sure I do my due diligence to know that I can take advantage of areas if they're not being called. Okay.
We'll come over here to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan kicking the tires on that. You were talking about the stadium section coming in there. Have you ever seen anything like that at any track? That's really a cool view. And what do you think it'll be like going through there at speed with racing with all those fans surrounding you?
Slow speed. I'll be going through there at a very slow speed, but the environment I think is really neat. And I don't, to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever raced anywhere that has that type of section to a racetrack where you exit in between two grandstands like that. So it is really cool. I'll give it to them. They have a really cool setup through there. It's a great place for the fans to watch and kind of see who's in position to win the race. Right there coming to the last turn. So it'd be an awesome place to watch a race, and I'm sure it'll be a good show for them on Sunday. With as slow as we're going to be going and whatnot through there with our cars, I think that it has potential to be pretty rough through that section, right? Just kind of depending upon who you're racing around and what kind of respect is expected or shown from whoever's in position to have an opportunity to run you over. So it just depends on who you're around.
When you think of tracks that we've raced at, Coda or Chicago or Daytona, an iconic place, iconic parts of the track like that, where would that rank at some point when you go through all through this?
I think it's just so foreign to me. I don't even know right now. I mean, I still haven't made a lap. So, and I certainly, part of what makes some of those places that you mentioned special is like race day environments and experiences and seeing that stuff firsthand. So I would like to just experience it and kind of see what it's like to know where it ranks and understand that a little better.
Are there any other questions for Chase? All right, Chase.
Perfect.
Thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.